Could Satou Sabally join Caitlin Clark on the Indiana Fever? This could be the biggest WNBA story of the offseason, and the digital clues Sabally has been leaving suggest it's more than just speculation. Recently, the Indiana Fever said goodbye to Temi Fagbenle, one of their key players early in the season. While this may seem like a typical off-season move, it could be setting the stage for something massive. Satou Sabally, the Dallas Wings all-star forward, has made it clear she's a free agent and has been subtly hinting at her interest in joining the Fever. From strategically liking social media posts to engaging with content about teaming up with Caitlin Clark, Sabally's actions are speaking volumes.
So she's come out and said she's a free agent, and then Overtime said Satou teaming up with Caitlin, kinda here for that narrative.
On Instagram, Sabally has been particularly active. After announcing her free agency, she began liking posts about the Fever and their potential super team with Caitlin Clark. What's notable is her complete lack of engagement with posts from fans of other teams, including vocal Chicago Sky supporters. This is calculated. Sabally has even liked fan-created graphics showing her in a Fever jersey, something rare in a league where players typically avoid tampering speculation. This isn't just random behavior. The timing and pattern of her activities suggest intent. After the college season began and Caitlin Clark started dominating headlines, Sabally's engagement with Indiana-related content escalated. It's clear she's intrigued by what the Fever are building. Why does this matter? The Fever are at a pivotal moment. They have Aaliyah Boston, who had a historic season, and of course, we all know what Caitlin Clark has been up to. But they still need a veteran superstar to complete the picture. Sabally, at 6 feet 4 inches with guard-like skills, could be the missing piece. Last season, Sabally averaged nearly 19 points and 8.5 rebounds per game. She's a versatile forward who can stretch the floor, defend multiple positions, and dominate in the paint. Pairing her with Boston and Clark would create a lineup that's not just competitive, but potentially dominant for years. And let's not forget Kelsey Mitchell, a proven scorer who would thrive with defenses unable to focus solely on her. But how could the Fever actually get Sabally? The Wings could use the core designation to retain her rights, similar to the franchise tag in other sports. However, history shows that forcing players to stay often backfires. Elena Delle Donne and Diana Taurasi both pushed their way to preferred destinations despite being cored. A sign and trade deal might be the best solution for all parties. A likely trade package could include Nalissa Smith, the 8th pick in the upcoming draft, and a future first-round pick. Smith is a promising young forward with significant upside, and the draft pick would allow Dallas to add more young talent. For the Fever, giving up these assets is worth it to secure a proven superstar like Sabally. This potential move isn't just about the Fever, it's about the league. With super teams already established in New York and Las Vegas, the WNBA needs another team to balance the competitive landscape. Adding Sabally to a young core led by Boston and Clark could make Indiana that team. It would also shift the narrative around Indiana as a free agent destination, turning them into one of the most exciting franchises in the league. The timing is perfect for both Sabally and the Fever. At 25 years old, Sabally is entering her prime. The Fever have cap space to offer a max contract without compromising their roster, thanks to their young core still being on rookie deals. Bringing in Sabally would solidify their transformation from a rebuilding team to a legitimate contender. This move could also have a ripple effect beyond basketball. The Fever would instantly become one of the most marketable teams in the league, drawing attention to a smaller market and contributing to the WNBA's growth. Sabally joining forces with Clark and Boston wouldn't just create a team, it would create a dynasty capable of dominating the league for years to come.
It's that time. Harvest. You
It's
guys,
all
everyone
done.
wants me to cry today. No way. Oh.
Have you ever witnessed a basketball star tear up over someone else's triumph? Well, A'ja Wilson just did. The WNBA champion was seen in tears, but not for the reasons you'd expect. It's all in response to Caitlin Clark's emotional jersey retirement announcement.
I was like in tears, y'all.
You might be asking, what's all the fuss about? Don't players have their jerseys retired all the time? Well, not like this. Caitlin Clark's retirement ceremony is already setting records before it's even happened. Meanwhile, A'ja Wilson's fans are crying foul, suggesting Iowa orchestrated this to steal the spotlight. But what spotlight? Iowa likely didn't even know when South Carolina planned Wilson's ceremony, especially since she graduated nearly a decade ago. We've got the facts, the timeline, and fan reactions that tell a different story. Let's break down why Wilson's tears are flowing and how Clark is once again changing the game for women's basketball. February 2nd, 2025. Don't forget that date, because it's about to become legendary in women's basketball. 2 players, 2 jersey retirements, but only one is stealing the spotlight like a supernova. Caitlin Clark and A'ja Wilson, both revolutionizing women's basketball in their own ways, are set to have their jerseys retired on the same day. But that's where the comparison ends. Clark's ceremony at Iowa is generating a buzz that's completely overshadowing Wilson's South Carolina event.
Iowa taking on USC and Juju Watkins. Nationally televised game, I believe. February 2nd, 2-2, so it's 22. Everything about it lines up.
Let's talk numbers because they're crazy. The cheapest ticket to see Clark's jersey rise to the rafters is over $700, which is the most expensive ticket in women's basketball history. For some perspective, this price tag is even steeper than the cheapest ticket to an NBA Finals game. And if you're aiming for the best seats in the house, you'd better have a thick wallet, with tickets going for over $8,000. Meanwhile, you can catch a seat at Wilson's ceremony for just $25. No, that's not a typo. We're talking about a price difference more than 28 times higher for Clark's event.
But that is a supply and demand thing, especially in today's day and age where there's no such thing as a sellout, right? Where you can go to any event you want as long as you're willing to pay for it because of the secondary ticket market.
Social media is blowing up with reactions. This isn't just about ticket prices. It's a game-changing moment for women's basketball. The demand we're seeing now was unimaginable just a few years ago. Clark's final home game shattered records with tickets reaching $450. But now that feels like pocket change compared to her retirement ceremony. What's unfolding here is Clark reshaping the entire landscape of women's basketball. She's not just rewriting the record books on the court, she's breaking barriers off it. Clark has become a cultural icon, drawing in fans who might have never tuned into a women's basketball game before.
I'm leading scorer in women's college basketball.
But wait, there's more. This story is far from over. What does Wilson and her team have to say about this, you may ask?
One of the sentiments that was expressed was, oh, it's the same day as A'ja Wilson's. How could you do it? First of all, I remember them announcing A'ja Wilson was getting her jersey retired, but I didn't remember the date or anything. When the Clark news broke, I didn't think about A'ja Wilson. And again, as is the case with Caitlin Clark, this only is going to bring more attention to A'ja Wilson's jersey retirement.
As ticket prices for Clark's ceremony soared, another kind of inflation was taking over: online outrage. A'ja Wilson's fans aren't just upset, they're convinced a conspiracy is at play. But what if the real story is even more explosive than they think? The social media storm ignited with Wilson's supporters crying foul over the timing of Clark's jersey retirement. One fan didn't hold back, tweeting, "Why would y'all retire her jersey on the same day as A'ja Wilson? Are y'all stupid?" This sentiment echoed across social media, with Wilson's fan base feeling like their star was being overshadowed by the Clark phenomenon. But here's where it gets interesting. The timeline of these announcements tells a different story. Iowa didn't just pull Clark's jersey retirement out of thin air. They revealed their plans back on April 11th, 2024, right after the NCAA championship game.
And yes, Clark did get a standing ovation when Iowa's athletics director announced that the university will retire her number 22
jersey. That number holds a lot of weight, far beyond my name, and I guess I'm just really grateful, and it'll be a special day when that happens for sure. Thank you. It's been very special, and this place will always be home to me.
South Carolina didn't unveil their plans for Wilson's jersey retirement until October 2024, 6 months later, folks. Wilson's fans are saying they're not Clark fans, so why should they care about Iowa stealing the spotlight with their announcement? Why can't both players be honored on the same day?
First of all, there's nothing wrong with two schools retiring respective jerseys on the same day. But secondly, if you wanted the focus to be on A'ja Wilson, she'll probably get more attention as the second, most recognized jersey retirement of that day than she would have if she had the stage all to herself on that.
So why are Wilson's fans so certain that Iowa is trying to steal South Carolina's thunder? It all boils down to the meteoric rise of Clark's popularity. Iowa's athletic director, Beth Gutz, put it bluntly, Clark's accomplishments have made a lasting impact on the university and on women's basketball. They weren't responding to Wilson's announcement. They were celebrating their own superstar. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Why did it take South Carolina so long to honor Wilson? One fan pointed out the obvious. Why did it take a decade for South Carolina to retire A'ja's number? How is that Iowa's problem? It's a fair question. Wilson graduated in 2018, yet it's taken until 2025 for her alma mater to retire her jersey. That's not on Iowa, that's on South Carolina.
And South Carolina waited years and years to retire A'ja's jersey.
The conspiracy theories are running wild, with some of Wilson's supporters convinced that Iowa deliberately picked this date to overshadow A'ja's moment. But let's think this through. Iowa chose a date that aligns with a high-profile game against USC, featuring rising star Juju Watkins, which was already set to be nationally televised. Plus, Clark's jersey has been hanging in Carver Hawkeye Arena for months. Everyone knew it was coming. How could Iowa possibly know when A'ja's retirement ceremony was planned? No one even knew about it until Clark made her announcement. This isn't about stealing anyone's spotlight. It's about maximizing exposure for women's basketball as a whole.
And then there was, Iowa is rushing this. They're rushing, or everything is rushed with Caitlin Clark. No, she just did things faster and garnered more attention and more notoriety and celebrity and celebration and popularity.
Here's what's hilarious. Some fans are actually asking for Wilson to move her date. One tweet put it bluntly, "Tell A'ja to move her date." Then the face of the WNBA is retiring hers. Show some respect. It's a stark reminder of how quickly the landscape of women's basketball is evolving. So what's really happening here? Is this about disrespect? Or is it simply a changing of the guard in women's basketball? The facts don't back up the conspiracy theories. Iowa's plans were in place long before Wilson's announcement, and they're just capitalizing on Clark's massive popularity. But here's the twist. There might be more to A'ja's reaction than just the jersey retirement itself. Is this truly about the ceremony, or could it be a deeper feeling of jealousy?
A lot to be proud of, and it all happened so fast, it's hard to appreciate in the moment.
That is Iowa native and Indiana Fever star, and now Times 2024 Athlete of the Year, Caitlin Clark. looking back at a whirlwind year.
Caitlin Clark has just taken the internet by storm, but not for the reasons you might expect. In a move that left the basketball world in awe, this 22-year-old superstar effortlessly swept up awards, sparking envy among some of her WNBA peers.
I see are the Bs that are being dramatic about Caitlin Clark. That's all I see. They try so long to get respect for women's basketball, and then they treat it like a junior high school girl's locker room. Junior high school girl antics on the court.
From being named Time's Athlete of the Year to securing a spot on Forbes' 100 Most Powerful Women list, Caitlin Clark's trophy case is overflowing with accolades. While countless fans are celebrating her remarkable achievements, others aren't so supportive and are throwing shade her way. You won't believe who's leading the jealousy parade, and what they're doing will absolutely stun you.
Time magazine recognizes the monster impact Clark had on basketball, saying good luck naming another athlete who altered the trajectory of their entire team sport within 5 months on the job.
Caitlin Clark has taken the basketball world by storm, effortlessly collecting awards as if they were going out of style. She clinched Time's Athlete of the Year, secured a spot on Forbes' 100 Most Influential Women, made it to Forbes' 30 Under 30, and to top it all off, she's been nominated for the BBC Sports Personality of the Year. But why is a 22-year-old rookie receiving so much recognition?
I first want to start with Time Magazine, Ari, and I think this is maybe the least surprising announcement of the year, that the Athlete of the Year for Time Magazine is Caitlin Clark.
Imagine a young woman stepping onto the court, instantly capturing the world's attention. That's Caitlin Clark for you. She's not just breaking records, she's obliterating them, with an astonishing 62 records in the WNBA alone. These numbers aren't merely impressive, they're legendary.
There's only one that can do what Caitlin Clark did. Bring all those eyes. For pure basketball purists, there's nobody like her. Now, culturally, we can make an argument, but like on the court, what she did, and I don't know if you saw, Indiana Fever yesterday posted this clip of Caitlin, and the caption was just her accolades, and it took 5 minutes to read, and I'm like, girl, do you want to chill at all? She doesn't know.
Zero. And it, listen, I think this is probably the easiest decision to make, right?
But Caitlin Clark's impact extends far beyond the stat sheet. She's transforming the game in ways no one could have anticipated. Remember when skeptics claimed that women's basketball wasn't exciting? Clark has made them eat their words. Her unique playing style captivates audiences, turning every game into must-see TV. In her own words, I've been able to captivate so many people who have never watched women's sports, let alone women's basketball, and turn them into fans.
We've never, ever seen somebody in this way capture an audience, capture a new audience, and be able to absolutely attribute real numbers and statistics to their popularity, right? Like 19 million people watching, and certainly watching the national championship.
What truly sets Caitlin Clark apart from other rookies isn't just her exceptional skill, it's her extraordinary ability to elevate everyone around her. This standout trait has fans and analysts alike buzzing with excitement about what lies ahead for this basketball sensation. Remember the days when WNBA games struggled to fill the stands? Those days are becoming a distant memory. For years, the WNBA grappled with low attendance and declining viewership, leaving many skeptical about its future. People questioned, can one player really make a difference? Caitlin Clark has decisively answered that question with a resounding yes, transforming the landscape of the league and proving that a single star can ignite a powerful movement.
We talk about ceilings a lot, but she created a new floor. So now we're going to look back. Even if it doesn't hit the numbers that it hit this season, the expectation is much higher. The interest is generally much higher. The investment is much higher.
Let's break down the numbers. Since Caitlin Clark joined the WNBA, attendance has skyrocketed, TV ratings are through the roof, and merchandise sales are flying off the shelves. But it's not just about Clark. Her popularity is lifting the entire league. More fans, more media coverage, and more opportunities for players have transformed the WNBA into must-see entertainment. According to analysts, Clark alone is responsible for 26.5% of the league's revenue. That's not just impressive, it's a game changer. Clark has sparked a movement. Teammates like Lexi Hull and Aaliyah Boston have openly praised her, while friends like Sabrina Ionescu and Cameron Brink continue to celebrate her success. Even Kim Mulkey, Angel Reese's former coach, put aside past rivalries to call Clark a generational talent. Her impact extends far beyond her stats. She's changing how women's basketball is viewed worldwide. But with success comes backlash. Some WNBA veterans feel overshadowed by Clark's rapid rise. A'ja Wilson's recent comments in Time magazine and Angel Reese's escalating speaking fees are stirring the pot, hinting at jealousy within the league. Even Cheryl Swoops, a WNBA legend, questioned Clark's recent accolades. Yet, amidst the drama, Clark remains focused, letting her game speak volumes. Her influence isn't just elevating her team, it's reshaping women's sports as a whole. From her inclusion in Forbes' 30 Under 30 to her role in boosting league-wide attendance and merchandise sales, Clark is at the forefront of a new era. As the 2025 season approaches, all eyes are on her Indiana Fever, set to face Angel Reese's Chicago Sky in a highly anticipated opener. Clark's vision goes beyond personal success. She's committed to lifting the entire sport, saying, "I know my star power comes with benefits, but I also want to honor the work done before me to bring the league to this point." Her impact is already historic, but for Clark, this is just the beginning. With her ability to inspire fans and unite players, Caitlin Clark is rewriting the playbook for women's basketball. As she continues to break records and grow the league, she's not just changing the game, she's paving the way for future generations. The excitement is building, and the best is yet to come. Caitlin Clark is changing the game, literally. Her ability to drain deep three-pointers, the kind you usually associate with Steph Curry, has redefined the expectations for women's basketball. It's not just about the range, it's her confidence, flair, and ability to consistently perform at a level we've rarely, if ever, seen before. NBA legends and basketball greats are taking notice, and their reactions are a testament to her talent and impact. Michael Jordan, the greatest of all time, didn't hold back in his praise. He highlighted how much Caitlin has done for the WNBA and called for better officiating to protect her from unnecessary fouls and hostility. MJ's message was clear: Caitlin is invaluable to the game, and it's time the league treated her accordingly. Steph Curry, often seen as her male counterpart, has been equally impressed. He's pointed out the similarities in their games, not just the lightning-fast release and jaw-dropping range, but also their ability to elevate teammates and put on a show for fans. As Steph said, she's the total package. But Caitlin's rise hasn't come without challenges. From the start, she's faced criticism and even hostility from some WNBA players. NBA legends like Rick Barry and George Gervin have defended her, calling out the jealousy and disrespect. Barry was blunt, saying the hate comes from fear of her undeniable talent. Gervin added that Caitlin's impact goes beyond the court. She's brought private charters, bigger sponsorships, and unprecedented attention to the WNBA. As Barkley put it, "You should be thanking that girl." Yet, not everyone is on board. Reggie Miller sees the adversity as part of Caitlin's journey, arguing that every rookie must prove themselves. Kevin Garnett echoed that sentiment, framing the extra defensive attention and hard fouls as a sign of respect. They both believe these challenges will only make her stronger. The controversy around Caitlin reached a new level when she was left off the U.S. Olympic roster. Critics like Paul Pierce argued it was a missed opportunity for the sport, while others, like Dwight Howard, saw it differently. Howard suggested the break might have been a blessing in disguise, giving Caitlin time to recharge and dominate in the second half of the season. Through it all, Caitlin has stayed focused. Her game has grown faster, sharper, and even more electrifying. Legends like Shaquille O'Neal have praised her ability to silence critics with her play. Shaq, in his signature style, summed it up perfectly. If I say you're not gonna hit that shot and you hit it anyway, you're the truth. What's remarkable is how much Caitlin has already done for women's basketball. Magic Johnson, who has an ownership stake in the WNBA, compared her to young stars like Angel Reese, saying players like Caitlin are shaping the league's future. Magic also pointed out that it's not just about Caitlin being the most popular player. It's about her potential to reach the very top, just like he and Larry Bird once did. Even with all the challenges and noise, Caitlin's journey has been nothing short of transformative. She's bringing in fans, raising the league's profile, and proving that women's basketball is a force to be reckoned with. As Charles Barkley said, the WNBA owes her a lot for what she's done for the game. Caitlin Clark is not just a rising star, she's a trailblazer. Her ability to thrive under pressure, elevate the sport, and handle adversity with grace is why basketball legends, fans, and critics alike are rooting for her. Whether it's breaking records or changing perceptions, Caitlin is building a legacy that will be talked about for years to come.
Caitlin Clark just did something that no athlete has done since Michael Jordan.
Remember when Michael Jordan's name was pure marketing magic, turning every product he endorsed into a must-have item? Well, a new star is taking the sports world by storm, and she's just out of college. Caitlin Clark has signed a deal so revolutionary that it's making WNBA veterans break out in a cold sweat.
But she's incredible. Congratulations to her and her family. Yeah. The crazy thing is I'm just seeing her last year when they played LSU, but she's phenomenal.
But here's the truth. Clark isn't just selling merchandise. She's packing arenas to capacity. In this video, we'll unveil Clark's game-changing deal with Michael Jordan and break down why some WNBA stars on the sidelines are frowning in frustration. Stay tuned, because by the end, we'll share Jordan's inspiring remarks and reveal the unique basketball statistic that only his royal airness and Caitlin share. Ready to dive in? Let's get started.
Where he's like Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, probably eventually Caitlin Clark, where it's like individual people make an entire country tune into their sport.
1,000%.
Like hockey was never bigger than when Wayne Gretzky was playing it, and it was ridiculous how much it grew the sport.
Tiger Woods.
Imagine a basketball star so exceptional that her gear flies off the shelves in minutes. Now, picture the talent behind it all. That's exactly what's happening with Caitlin Clark's groundbreaking partnership with Wilson Sporting Goods. This isn't just another endorsement, it's a transformative deal that's sending shockwaves through the sports arena. Wilson has appointed Clark as the first female athlete to launch her own signature basketball collection since Michael Jordan back in the 1980s. Take a moment to let that sink in. We're witnessing a level of recognition and marketability that was once exclusive to the all-time greats. And now, it's Caitlin Clark stepping into that elite league.
Making her the first athlete since Michael Jordan to get their own signature basketball from Wilson. She also becomes the first WNBA player to get her own signature basketball from Wilson.
What really sets this deal apart is how fast it took off. Caitlin Clark's limited edition basketballs hit shelves and vanished in a flash. We're talking tens of thousands of units sold out in under 40 minutes. That's the sort of buying frenzy you'd expect for a new PlayStation or exclusive sneaker launches. So, what makes these basketballs so special? Each one is a mini masterpiece commemorating Clark's phenomenal college career. Envision white and gold designs, laser-etched with her most iconic highlights. There's the Free Up, a tribute to her pinpoint shooting, the Record Breaker, marking her history-making feats, and the Crowd Maestro, honoring her ability to electrify an entire arena. And if that weren't enough, she just dropped another collection in partnership with the $15 billion chain Hibbett Sports.
Calling all Caitlin Clark fans, 2 new limited edition basketballs are now available at select Hy-Vee stores. The designs are part of the Inspire series that Clark is doing in partnership with Wilson Sporting Goods. The tribute ball pays homage to Clark's time with the Iowa women's basketball team, and the Dreamer Ball is designed to encourage athletes to pursue their dreams. Both are available in sizes 3 and 6 at select Hy-Vee locations.
Wilson didn't choose Clark solely for her basketball prowess. They recognized a rising cultural figure. As Amanda Lamb, Wilson's global brand director, put it, Caitlin Clark is not just a record-breaking athlete, but a cultural phenomenon who's reshaping the game. Think about the gravity of that. Wilson has been supplying basketballs for the NBA for ages and took over the WNBA contract in 2020. Now they're placing a massive bet on Clark to front their women's basketball line, a clear indicator that the landscape of women's sports marketing is evolving, with Clark at its epicenter. But here's the real game changer. Clark's partnership with Wilson doesn't just elevate her own career, it's redefining the possibilities for all female athletes in the sports marketing sphere. And as we're about to discover, it's stirring up plenty of buzz in WNBA locker rooms.
And when you take into stock the fact that outside of Kevin Durant, aging superstar, LeBron James, damn near 40 years old, and Steph Curry, there's not a single NBA player more popular today than Caitlin Clark.
They say numbers don't lie, but when it comes to Caitlin Clark, the numbers aren't just talking, they're shouting from the rooftops. How is one player tripling viewership? And what does it mean for the future of women's basketball? Let's break it down. Clark's impact on the WNBA isn't just big, it's record-shattering. We're talking about a star who's not just playing the game, but changing how people watch it. Picture this, arenas packed to the rafters, TV ratings through the roof, and a buzz around women's basketball that we haven't seen, well, ever.
We knew Caitlin Clark was marketable, but she's been put over some pretty big names. In fact, some worldwide, huge, international names. 2 of them being Messi and Ronaldo.
Let's talk about Caitlin Clark's viewership stats for a moment. Her games are drawing an average of over 1 million viewers. That's not just impressive, it's 3 times the usual WNBA audience. Let that sink in. A single player is tripling the league's numbers. It's almost like she's got a magic volume knob, and she's turning women's basketball all the way up.
For Caitlin Clark, on a worldwide marketability list for athletes, to be ahead of both Messi and Ronaldo is quite impressive. I mean, she's ahead of Steph Curry. Steph Curry is behind her on the list.
But it's not just about the stats. Clark is pulling in viewers who've never watched a WNBA game in their lives. How? By playing with a flair and intensity you can't ignore. She's not simply racking up points, she's generating highlight reels that fans can't stop passing around. Don't just take my word for it, though. Listen to Mike Breen, the voice of the NBA.
She's doing rating-wise for the WNBA what Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Steph Curry have been doing for the NBA.
That's more than just high praise. It places Clark alongside the true titans of basketball. But here's the real twist. She's not only dominating on the court, she's also become a marketing force to be reckoned with. Experts now rank her as the 4th most marketable athlete across the entire sports landscape, not just in women's basketball or the WNBA, but in all of athletics. That level of influence reshapes games, leagues, and the entire framework of sports marketing. So, what's next? With Clark at the forefront, expect major changes in how the WNBA promotes itself. We're talking fresh sponsorships, increased primetime broadcasts, and a whole new wave of mainstream interest in women's basketball. Of course, not everyone is celebrating. Some of the league's seasoned players are watching this rookie phenomenon with clenched jaws and raised eyebrows. And that's where things start to get complicated.
The idea of some players being jealous, yes, that probably exists.
Okay.
To me, yeah, jealous, sure. I mean, would you be jealous of somebody that got $28 million a shoe deal or whatever the deal is before you step foot in the pros?
Picture this, a newcomer setting the league on fire, shattering 62 records and mesmerizing crowds. Sounds like a dream for the WNBA, right? Well, not everyone is applauding. As Caitlin Clark's star continues to ascend, some seasoned players are feeling the pressure, and it's not exactly pleasant. Let's get real. The WNBA has spent years battling for respect and recognition. Veteran athletes have poured in sweat, blood, and tears to establish something extraordinary. Then, along comes Clark, and it's as though she flipped the script with one simple truth. Her game is just that good.
And what a lot of people weren't willing or were a bit reluctant to appreciate was the game on this young white sister of ours. She can ball. And oh, by the way, she was a great ambassador for the game. And by the way, she came in there and looked out for everybody else. For 22 years, they couldn't get chartered flights. That sister got there and it was done in 2 weeks. That's who Caitlin Clark is.
This isn't just a few annoyed whispers. We're talking full-on tension during matchups. Certain players are coming at Clark with an intensity that goes way beyond regular competition. It's as if they're sending a direct message, you might be the rising star, but this is our territory.
They try so long to get respect for women's basketball, and then they treat it like a junior high school girl's locker room. Junior high school girl antics on the court. Instead of playing the game, they gotta be drama because they're jealous. Instead of letting their skills speak for themselves, they gotta be drama because they're jealous.
So why the friction? It's not a one-note story. On the one hand, Clark's skyrocketing fame means lucrative endorsement deals and immediate name recognition. On the other, you have long-standing WNBA pros who've been hustling for years with only a fraction of the spotlight. It's creating a noticeable rift you just can't ignore.
Asia Wilson 1, Nafisa Collier 2, Sabrina Ionescu 3, Brianna Stewart 4, Alyssa Thomas 5, and honorable mentions, Caitlin Clark.
Did you catch the latest WNBA bombshell? Caitlin Clark, the rookie powerhouse who's been dominating the courts and shattering records all season, has been shockingly left out of the top MVP conversation. But here's where it gets even more explosive. Asia Wilson, the current MVP, is furious. Why? Because fans and analysts are increasingly saying that Clark's incredible performance deserves the MVP title more than her. How did Clark, with her standout stats and game-changing impact, get sidelined like this? The controversy is igniting intense debates across the basketball community.
She is leading the WNBA in points generated, which means points scored and or points assisted on. She is leading the league by a significant margin, and she is doing this as a rookie with a Fever team that is not comprised of a bunch of all-stars.
Let's dive into the MVP rankings that are making big waves in the WNBA. Leading the pack is Asia Wilson, confidently holding the top spot.
There's no debating it. If you even talk about MVP, you have to be like, well, of course Asia Wilson's running away with it. Like, you cannot even have any kind of constructive conversation around MVP unless you preface it by saying, well, I already know that Asia Wilson won. Like, that's the standard.
Coming in hot at number 2 is Nafisa Collier from the Minnesota Lynx. Every time she steps onto the court, she takes full command of the game, leaving a massive impact on both her team and the opposition. Quiet yet lethal, Collier consistently asserts her dominance, making it impossible to ignore her formidable presence.
And Nafisa can take over the game at any point in time. We've seen her do this on multiple occasions.
Sabrina Ionescu is stubbornly holding on to the third spot, even though some argue she doesn't quite deserve it. Behind her, Breanna Stewart and Alyssa Thomas secure their places in the top 5. But here's the real surprise. Where is Caitlin Clark? The rookie sensation who's been setting the league ablaze with her incredible performances is completely absent from the top 5. Unbelievable, right?
Getting to the honorable mention, they have Caitlin Clark.
You might think there's been a mix-up, but nope, that's exactly how the MVP rankings stand today. Their website even spotlighted Caitlin Clark with this statement.
While the Fever underwent understandable woes in the first month of the season, Indiana is 14-6 over their last 20 games, including 2 massive wins coming out of the All-Star break. Clark has found a synergy with her teammates and elite comfort on the floor as a facilitator and creator. She's knocking on the door of first-team All-W and top 5 finish in MVP voting.
Did you hear that? Caitlin Clark is just knocking on the MVP door? Not quite. Clark isn't merely knocking, she should already have a seat at the top. In fact, Caitlin Clark undeniably deserves a spot in the top 3 MVP contenders alongside A'ja Wilson and Napheesa Collier, and the numbers leave no room for doubt.
Look at their stats. A'ja wipes the floor with both of them. The only categories that she doesn't have are assists, 3-point percentage, and free throw percentage. Caitlin has all of those. She is tied for steals with Napheesa.
Let's be honest, A'ja Wilson was outstanding, no doubt. But rookie Caitlin Clark has outshined her in crucial areas like assists, free throw percentages, and 3-pointers, even setting the assist record. Clark's on-court impact is undeniable, proving she's anything but average. So why is she being overlooked? It's got everyone puzzled. Some say it's because she's a rookie and the league prefers established stars. Others argue that individual stats don't capture the whole picture. This snub hasn't gone unnoticed. The debate is heating up, with voices like Rachel Demita criticizing the WNBA's MVP selection process. Demita points out that every time Clark elevates her game, the bar for her recognition keeps rising, making it harder for her to secure the MVP title she clearly deserves. Historically, only one rookie, Candace Parker in 2008, has ever won the MVP award. It feels like there's an unwritten rule against first-year players being the most valuable. But why? Are rookies seen as too inexperienced, or is there a bias towards veterans? Clark is challenging this by excelling not just as a rookie, but across multiple facets of the game. As Skip Bayless put it, nobody in the league can flick logo threes as effortlessly as Caitlin can. Clark is now pushing A'ja Wilson for the MVP crown with her exceptional ability to control the game. While Wilson has secured back-to-back championships with a star-studded team, Clark is transforming the Indiana Fever. Before the All-Star break, the Fever were struggling with a 13-27 record. After the break, they flipped the script with a 14-6 run, thanks to Clark's leadership and stellar performances. She's not just scoring, she's elevating her entire team, leading them to the playoffs for the first time since 2016. When comparing Clark to Candace Parker, Clark is already surpassing Parker's rookie stats in assists, steals, 3-pointers, and free throw percentage. Her all-around game is setting new standards, proving she's a game changer. Her impact on the Fever is clear, turning a struggling team into one of the league's hottest. Meanwhile, A'ja Wilson shines on a team loaded with Team USA players and multiple All-Stars, making her achievements impressive but also supported by a strong roster. In contrast, Clark excels without the same level of star support, highlighting her individual value. The MVP debate in the WNBA is intensifying. Should the award go to the player with the best stats, the one who drives their team's success, or the one who's revolutionizing the game? Clark's season is forcing us to rethink traditional MVP criteria, blending individual excellence with transformative team impact. Caitlin Clark's rise is more than a rookie story, it's a revolution in the WNBA. As she continues to dominate and elevate her team, the question remains, is it time to break down old barriers and recognize the true value players like Clark bring to the league? The MVP conversation isn't over, and Clark is right at the center, challenging us to redefine what it means to be the most valuable player. What do you think? Should the MVP go to the player with the best stats, the one who boosts their team's success, or the one who's redefining the game?